Hello, hello. Good evening, powerful women of abundance. Lordine Jean Francois here. This is Love and Light with Lou, where we come together every Wednesday to discuss all topics relating to women's empowerment, emotional mastery, mental mastery, mastering our energy in our minds so that we can intentionally create the lives that we desire and we deserve. So excited to be here with you all. I'm going to give folks a couple of minutes to get into the room. I'm so excited to share today's topic because you can't live life without being in relationships with people, right? I mean, that's a big part of our life experience. And so I want to share with you all a question that I ask myself, right? When I'm in conflict or tense situations with my loved ones that has literally saved my relationships, okay? Right hand to God, okay? All right? Not disturbed. So I'm gonna give people a couple of minutes to get into the room. Always a pleasure to be here with you all, affirming everyone as well, encouraging you to make sure you're doing some self-care for yourself, not just this week, but every single week, okay? Make sure you're putting you on your list, all right? That's a priority. And yes. I'm excited. What is the one question that can save our relationships? What is the one question that can save our relationships? I can't wait to share this question with you all. Like I said, it has saved several of my relationships, okay? Friendships, partnerships, okay? Even familial relationships, okay? And so it's a very, very powerful question that really helps us become the observer instead of just reacting based off of emotions, okay? So, give folks a minute or so to get into the room, waiting for everybody to get their notifications and whatnot. How is everybody? How are y'all doing? How are y'all doing? I know there's been a lot going on, and sometimes, all of what's happening in the world can be pretty overwhelming. So, I hope you all are taking care of yourselves. Definitely making time to take care of you, okay? All right, spending time in nature, doing things you enjoy, trying new things, right? Doing things you're passionate about. All the things, okay? All the things so you can continue protecting your energy, especially during these difficult times. They talk about recessions and all the things, right? All the things are being talked about, and that's a lot to try to take in at once. So make sure you're turning off the TV and getting off of social media too, because sometimes all of that information could just be too much, okay, to take in. So make sure you're doing that as well. Taking a time out from watching the news, a time out from being on social media, going through the news feeds, because all of that stuff seeps into our minds, right? And affects our energy and our mood and the way that we think, all the things, right? So make sure you're protecting your energy by being selective about what you're taking in, what information you're taking in from all these different sources. Hey, Shanice. What's up, lady? We connect tomorrow, right? Can't wait to see you. Hope all is well. Today on Love and Light with Lou, we are talking about this one question that can help you save your relationships, okay? All right. So relationships give our souls the greatest opportunity to grow. Why is that? It's because nobody triggers us like the people that we love. Whether that's a family member, a friend, a partner, right? And so when we're triggered, we have an opportunity to do some really meaningful, deep soul work, right? I say this all the time. Be grateful for your triggers because they show you the wounds. They show us the wounds that need healing. All right. So because relationships can be so triggering, because people are people and we're all doing our best, when we're triggered, we have an opportunity to really learn how to operate from a place of love, respond from a place of love instead of reacting from a place of fear, right? Instead of reacting from our ego selves, okay? And so this choice between responding or reacting versus responding, it's particularly challenging when it comes to our intimate relationships, okay? And so we need to know how to be more responsive in our relationships, because if we don't learn how to do that, right, we're going to continue finding ourselves repeating the same toxic patterns with different people, but ultimately the same people, right? Instead of moving from hey, Nicole, what's up, cuz? So good to see you. So that's why this is so important. We have to know or learn the tools to be able to respond in our intimate relationships, especially if we want to keep these relationships. Because if we continue to react from a place of fear, we're going to end up finding ourselves in the same toxic patterns, right? Different people, but the same energy, okay? Different faces, but the same space, okay? The same energetic, emotional space. So that's why this is so very important. All right, so we're going to get into it. For those of you who do not know me, I am Laurendine Jean-Francois. I am a clinician, a women's empowerment coach. I am also the founder of Abundant Consulting LLC and the creator and founder of this amazing group, Powerful Women of Abundance. I'm also your host of Love and Light with Lou. Here we are, where we come together every Wednesday at 7:45 to discuss all things pertaining to women's empowerment. I'm always excited to connect with you all and just share some information so you all can make some conscious choices and intentionally create the life that you desire and you deserve, okay? So today, I'm sharing with you this one common habit that we have, and most of us have in all of our relationships, and how to address it. I'm gonna give you a tip at the end, what to do instead of doing this thing, okay? So you can give your relationships the greatest opportunity to grow and evolve and become what they're intended to become, all right? All right, let me know if y'all tracking. Put tracking in the chat. Hopefully I can see your comments, because sometimes I can, sometimes I can't, which is kind of confusing, but anyhow. All right, so before getting into the one common mistake that we make, let's first talk about relationships and how relationships actually go through stages. There are 5 stages of a relationship. Hey, Shanice, thank you. Tracking, thank you. It's coming up, tracking. Wonderful, wonderful. There are 5 stages of a relationship, okay? These stages are cyclical, not linear. And what that means is that over the lifespan of our relationship, hey, cuz, over the lifespan of our relationship, we cycle in and out of these stages, okay? So what's the first stage? The first stage is the merge stage. Make sure you're writing this down. The first stage is the merge stage. Now this is also the honeymoon phase, right? It's the phase of the relationship where there's just like this sweeping romance and it just totally consumes us. It's an all-consuming joy to just be in the presence of the person that you're in relationship with. And there's this insatiable urge to just be around each other. That's when the passionate sex is going on. I mean, this is when all the emotions are high, the oxytocin and all those happy chemicals are flowing. Like, we are literally in ecstasy, okay? And we feel like we've met our perfect match, right? Who's been there tracking, right? You meet someone the first couple of days, couple of weeks, it's just like it's a whirlwind romance. And you're like, oh my God, this has to be the person I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with, because if that's not the case, I would not feel this good, right? Tracking, I've been there, okay? All right, and so that's the honeymoon phase, okay? You feel that you want to be together at all costs, and essentially at this time, all boundaries melt away. Right? That's stage 1, the merge stage. Then we have stage 2, the the disillusionment stage, okay? Disillusionment, okay? Let me say that 3 times fast. The disillusionment phase. This is, I'm sorry, no, my apologies. Stage 3 is the disillusionment phase. Stage 2 is the doubt and denial phase. So we have stage 1, that's the merge phase, that's the honeymoon phase, honeymoon stage. Then we have stage 2, the doubt and denial stage. And so during this stage, we start to actually notice the differences between us and our partners, right? We start to get a little bit more attentive, a little bit more attuned, and maybe even critical about the differences between us and our partners. So what this looks like is the same qualities that once seemed to be so perfect have now started to annoy us, okay? And you don't know why. It's like, how does that happen? What happened, right? 1 minute you're in the honeymoon phase, and all of a sudden these little things start to annoy you. They start to get on your nerves, okay? That means you're in the doubt and denial stage. That's stage 2, okay? Stage 3 is the disillusionment stage, okay? Now, this could be considered the winter season of love, one that may feel like the end of the road for some couples, like this is it, okay? At this point, power struggles start to ensue. People in relationships, basically the issues that we've been kind of ignoring fully come to the surface, okay? The things that we've been kind of sweeping under the rug, right, fully come to the surface, and they're glaringly obvious. I mean, you just can't ignore them, okay? And so what this looks like is just being ready to battle at the slightest provocation, the slightest issue. It seems like we're right in the thralls of an argument. Okay, that's what's going on in stage 3, the disillusionment stage. Stage 4 of relationships is the decision stage, okay? And this stage is called the decision stage because you're at a breaking point at this moment, right? You're at a breaking point. Emotional breakdowns are happening. Sometimes maybe you're leaving the house for hours, right? You're just at the point where you've basically had it up to here. Okay, and you know you're here when you begin to seriously contemplate leaving the relationship, okay, exiting the relationship. And you may even feel like if you left the relationship, you would find a more suitable partner, right? So you're drawn to, enticed by the idea of having a new beginning with someone new, okay? Then lastly, stage 5, right, is the wholehearted love stage, okay? This is a stage of wholehearted love. So in this 5th stage, this is when our relationship is the healthiest and the most rewarding, okay? In this stage, couples experience true individuation, self-discovery, and the acceptance of imperfection in both themselves and their partners. I'm gonna say it again. Imperfections in both ourselves and our partners. Who wants to admit that they're imperfect today? Okay, tracking me, okay, aren't we all? Okay, so at this stage we're embracing the truth, accepting the truth that we are imperfect, and so are they. And we realize that there's no such thing as a perfect match. This fairy tale story of you being with someone who is your perfect match, that only happens in the movies, okay? Only happens in the Disney classics, all right? So in this stage, this is when the relationship matures and gets to a point where both parties are accepting that relationships do take work. That relationships take work. Nobody's perfect. Everybody's doing the best that they can, right? And then this realization gives us an opportunity to really experience true love. Okay, true, long-lasting love, okay? All right, so what is one of the biggest mistakes that we make in our relationships, right? Throughout this natural course of the relationship process, the cyclical relationship process. So I can mention so many mistakes based on the different stages, but I'm just gonna focus on one today. One of the most common mistakes many of us make in our relationships when they're just running their natural course and this happens in the disillusionment phase, right? Which is that power struggle phase, right? One of the biggest mistakes that we make is we act as if we would rather be right than be loved. Okay? One of the biggest common mistakes that we make is we act as if we would rather be right than be loved. All right? All right? Somebody type that in the chat. We act as if we would rather be right than be loved, right? And so why is this such a common mistake? Why is this such a common mistake? First of all, what's happening at the underneath the surface, right? What's going on beyond the surface is that our ego selves, right, wants to win because it's mostly concerned. Hey, Jeanette, so good to see you. Thank you for joining. We're talking about the one question that we can ask ourselves that can save our relationships, okay? Yes, thank you, Nikki, for putting that in the chat. We act as if we would rather be right than be loved. Indeed, that's one of the biggest mistakes that we make. Now that we know there are 5 stages in a relationship, and one of those stages being the disillusionment stage, the power struggle stage. And what that means is both people are in this power struggle. We're both in this power struggle. We're both trying to assert ourselves, not lose control, if you will. And so the biggest mistake that we make that makes it hard for us to get past that disillusionment stage is we act as if we would rather be right than be loved. And so what's happening beyond the surface, what's going on beyond the surface, as I alluded to earlier, is that the ego is mostly concerned with its survival and protection, right? That's just what the ego does, okay? And so when we are triggered, that's the ego's goal. So in order to survive, I have to protect myself. And the way to protect myself is to win this argument. And the way that I win this argument is if I am right. Okay? Is if I am right. That's what the ego equates to winning. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If we're making the choice to be right over being loved, imagine the effect that has on our relationships. Because if you're trying to be right and I'm trying to be right and both of us are just trying to be right, where does that leave us? That leaves us at a standstill. That leaves us at a standstill. And usually what happens is relationships break down in this stage, in the stage 3, in the disillusionment stage, because we would rather be right than be loved. All right? Let me know if y'all tracking. Let me know if this is helpful, if this is resonating. You know, first of all, just knowing that there are stages in relationships, right? Like, this is valuable information so that when you're going through these stages, you know, you don't have to worry or be so overwhelmed by them, because you know that relationships just go through a natural process, a cyclical process, one that is not linear. We cycle in and out of these phases. So I'll go over them again. The merge stage, that's the honeymoon stage. Doubt and denial, right? That's when we start to notice the differences between ourselves and our partner. That's stage 2. Stage 3, stage, this is where we start to have the power struggles. Absolutely, this is the stuff that we don't know, and we're making decisions from places. Jeanette says this is deep. Yes, it is, because without this knowledge, we're making unconscious choices that are really sabotaging our relationships, all right? So stage 3, the disillusionment stage. Stage 4, the decision stage. That's when we have, you know, those emotional breakdowns, and we're thinking about, am I going to go? Am I going to stay? And then stage 5, the wholehearted love stage. When you've gotten through these things, again, this is cyclical though, so they can come back around. But when you realize that everybody's doing the best they can, everybody's perfectly imperfect, right? And that if you want to experience wholehearted love, you have to accept that truth. And second to that, you have to be willing to give up being right, to get out of that power struggle, right? So you can be loved. okay? And not just be loved, but be love. Because above all else, relationships teach us how to love unconditionally. And if we're trying to be right, that's a condition. That's not unconditional love, okay? So here's a tip. Here's a tip I'm going to share with you all today, all right? What to do when you're going through the power struggle phase. So when you're going through the power struggle phase, you find yourself in a conflict, I want you to ask yourself in that moment, do I want to be right or do I want to be loved? Okay? Do I want to be right or do I want to be loved? Okay? And when you ask yourself that question, if the answer is, I want to be right, that's not the time to try to have a conversation. That's not the time to try to work through or come to some common understanding, because the ego is still in control in that moment. You are not the observer. The ego is in control in that moment. So ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to be loved? And if the answer is I want to be right, take some space, take some time, give yourself some time and some space to get a greater perspective, and then ask yourself that question again. And when the answer changes to I want to be loved, that's when you know you're ready to have a conversation. Okay? Type tracking in the chat for me. Drop a 1 in the chat. Let me know if this has been helpful. I always enjoy sharing this information with you all. This is the stuff that I wish somebody would have told me, Somebody would have told me, but you know what? Everything happens for a reason. Nikki sends hearts. Thank you so much. Everything happens for a reason, right? So I went through what I had to go through. Jeanette sends hearts as well, so I can help people get through what they got to grow through, okay? So I'm thankful. I'm thankful for all of my lessons. I truly am. And I'm thankful to be able to share this information with you all right? So that's the question. Do I want to be right? Or do I want to be loved? And this question can save your relationships. Literally. Okay? It takes us out of that power struggle and puts us in a space where we're more open to identifying solutions and growing together. Right? Because that's what this is all about. All right? Always, always a pleasure to connect with you all. Again, ask yourselves that question. Do I want to be right or do I want to be loved? And if you still want to be right, walk away. Give yourself a minute to compose yourself. And when the answer changes to I want to be loved, then you know you're ready to have a conversation. All right, with your loved ones. Hey, Crescent Moon. So good to see you. Thank you for joining. All right, so that's it for today. That's it for today. I hope this was helpful. Again, the question, do I want to be right or do I want to be loved? If the answer is I want to be right, it's not time to have a conversation, okay? Wait until the answer is I want to be loved, all right? That's when you know that you have become the observer, all right? Jeanette says, thank you for sharing your knowledge. Jeanette, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, as always, to share this information with you all. All right. I have some great, amazing things coming up the next couple of weeks. So I'm launching a merchandise line, a merch line. We're about to have powerful Women of Abundance t-shirts and mugs and journals and all the things. I keep telling you all, this is more than a group. It is a movement. All right. So keep a lookout for that merchandise. I'm working on something extremely special for you all, and I can't wait to share it with you. I also want to thank those of you who attended the masterclass last week, my masterclass, The Secret to Making the Shift from Surviving to Thriving. It was so amazing spending that time with just powerful women who are ready to intentionally make the shift from surviving to thriving. We had an amazing time. We'll have another masterclass coming up in the next couple of weeks, so be sure to register for that. If you did not make it to the last one, it was a great, great time. And as always, if you're interested in specialized support with any of the topics I talk about on here, if you would like some help with mastering your energy, your emotions, your mind, so you can use that energy to intentionally create the life that you deserve, you can DM me on whichever platform you're viewing this video on. You can also connect with me on my website, www.abundantconsulting.org. Until then, powerful women, it is always a pleasure to connect with you all. You be well. Peace.